Fox News alert, Trump's burning bridges. Last night, we eliminated 3 key Iranian bridges around Bandar Abbas, their largest port and Navy headquarters. The bridges are the arteries into the heart of Iran. Now they're closed off. We also smoked a major railway station, cutting off their military from resupply lines. And that's not all. Fighter jets, drones, and warships lit up air defense sites and military airports. And we knocked out a surveillance tower near the Gulf of Oman. Here it is coming down. It was the mullah's eyes over the strait. They use it to coordinate their attacks on innocent ships. Trump's been slapping around the gay Ayatollah for 7 straight days. But Iran still has some fight left in them. They launched ballistic missiles into Kuwait, hit a water plant. That's terrorism. Axios is reporting Iran's also launching missiles at bases in Saudi Arabia. So far, everything's been intercepted. But here comes the big squeeze. Airstrikes combined with the naval blockade is strangling their economy. And once we step up attacks on bridges and rails in the north, we'll have a land blockade. The goal is to take their oil revenue down to 0. All of these chess moves are setting the table for a massive offensive. When Trump was in the Situation Room this week, he was handed a new menu of options, like wiping out power plants and double-tapping nuke sites, and then flattening Pickaxe Mountain, where the intel says they could dash and stash their uranium. We're already seeing the pieces move. Trump told Israel to clear the runway. We're sending in dozens of refueling planes to keep our bombers in the air. You don't move that much hardware unless you're planning to use it. We also have more than 2,000 Marines trained in water landings right on Iran's doorstep, the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit. Trump still hasn't pulled the trigger. A ground assault would be a serious escalation, but the mullahs cannot control the strait.
Isolating the Straits of Hormuz was always part of the plan. So that's why you see bridges being destroyed, because we don't want them to come in and be able to reinforce logistically and begin to recover the capabilities that we're taking away from them. For Iran, the Straits of Hormuz is a strategic asset. They are willing to fight us for it, and we have got to take it away from them and prevent them from ever getting it back under their control again.
John Teichert is a former Deputy Undersecretary of Foreign Affairs and former Senior Defense Attaché in the Middle East. John, the latest contours of attacks, how do you see it?
Jesse, I see what's gone on in the last couple of nights as a little bit of an appetizer for the main course of expanded military operations next week. The regime has clearly exceeded the patience threshold and the goodwill of the President of the United States, and he is now going to execute, starting next week, some of these larger scale strategic strikes to bend the will of the regime to our strategic interests.
How long do you think that'll take? Because these strikes seem to be doing a lot of damage already, especially knocking out these railways and bridges.
Jesse, there are 2 additional operational advantages to what we've been seeing the last couple of nights. Number one is it does indeed cut their supply lines and isolate their forces in the area in or around the Strait of Hormuz. That means that it's less likely they can defend themselves and less likely they can project power in the region. And then number 2, it prepares the battlefield. So if the president so chooses to implement a ground invasion in that area, then it would be easier, it would be safer and more effective, and all of those things are stemming from these type of operational targets that have been struck in the last couple of days.
What would a ground assault there look like? Capture islands, strategic territory in the coastline? Tell us about that.
Jesse, that's exactly right. For the specifics around the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. Central Command has no doubt mapped out the area that is most significant and what we would need to do to take terrain to best protect our forces in shipping. And then there still is the wild card of what we're going to do on Kharg Island to the north, and whether that is strikes to permanently disable and eliminate Iran's energy sources and resources, or whether that's an invasion there that would allow us to keep those energy resources. I think U.S. Central Command is giving the president options, and I think both of those ground invasion options, Kharg Island and the area around the strait, are on the table.
Yeah, the president told Trey Yingst that if you could push the enemy back far enough from Kharg, he would consider that operation. Once you do capture Kharg, what kind of leverage does that give over the enemy?
Jesse, 90% of Iran's oil exports go through that single island. That means if we either destroy it, then there's no chance for them to rebuild and it strangles their economy, or if we take it, then we keep those resources ourselves. There's risk at capturing that island because the enemy is going to do their best to defend it. But if we decide to do it, then it ultimately takes 90% of export revenue off the table for Iran, and it does indeed strangle the regime.
And wouldn't that just bring them right to their knees? They'd have to sign over everything at that point. Do you think it's worth the risk?
Jesse, at this point, we've got to do something to fundamentally change the strategic calculus. That is, hit the regime in the areas that they value most, the sources of their strength. And I think the nexus of that starts with Kharg Island. And with no ability to fund their regime, then they would have to capitulate. Otherwise, there's no way forward for them.
Would you consider additional decapitation strikes to some of the regime leadership?
Jesse, I think every strike we take from here on out should be mapped to how do we achieve our strategic objectives by that military activity. And some of those would be further regime leadership strikes. Some of those would be to eliminate internal security hubs. Some of those would be energy and power and key nodes of infrastructure and logistics. And maybe even now is the time to unleash the Kurds and provide them air cover. And all of those things would put severe pressure on the regime.
Well, I think you're right at the top. The president does look like he's setting the table for something big. And we'll follow that next week. John, thank you so much for your analysis. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.